Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Mahalia Joseph and C News is live at noon.
And I'm Nasira Mohammed with sport.
Topping the news at this time, the Water and Sewage Authority has issued a statement on concerns about inconsistent water supply in the Penal, Rock Road and Todd's Roads area. WASA says Penal Rock Road, which spans from Penal to Maruga Road, is supplied by several water sources with different schedules. The schedule has been impacted by the effects of the dry season and recent operational challenges in the area. It says measures are being taken to ensure the concerns of residents are addressed. Rishi Harinanan has more.
Said it will be embarking on the following projects over the coming months to improve the reliability and sustainability of the water supply to the Penal area in the short to medium term, namely upgrade to the Trinity water treatment plant with the aim of increasing water production and installation of 1 kilometer of pipelines along Herrero Trace to reach currently unconnected residents. WASA said the water supply to customers in the Todd's Road area, including Dan Trace and Sunilal Trace, was recently adjusted in keeping with the authority's dry season water supply plan, with the aim of ensuring that the community is provided with a sustainable supply during this time. The authority assured customers in these areas that every effort is being made to provide them with an adequate water supply in the face of reduced water availability due to the current dry season. It noted a limited truck-borne water supply is available and it will be having outreach officers visit the area to carry out an assessment to determine if there are any areas where the supply needs to be supplemented, mainly in areas at the end of the supply system. WASA said it will also be publishing a list of its revised water supply schedule later this week to better inform customers system-wide of their respective periods of supply. Customers are encouraged to institute conservation measures to ensure continued availability of this precious commodity for the remainder of the dry season and beyond. Rishi Harinanan, C News.
And residents of San Rafael village staged a protest this morning calling for a reliable supply of water in their area. According to residents, the schedule for the water supply has not been met, affecting their daily lives.
We have been without water in this district or in this village for the longest while. The minister said that there's no water shortage in Trinidad and Tobago. I want to tell him that he's not correct. He should visit Brazil Village, he should visit San Rafael, he should visit Las Lomas, he should visit Arena where the dam is.
One resident, Phyllis Murray, said she is concerned how the lack of water will affect students in the area.
It's not that we complain about the MP or we complain about anyone in particular about our monies being spent with respect to paying water bills. It's about the service that we are supposed to be having, which is supposed to be ours, which is 3 days a week, constant flow of water.
The temporary ban on the importation of corned beef, chicken patties and chicken nuggets from Brazil has been lifted with immediate effect. According to a statement from the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, the temporary restriction, which began on March 21st, was lifted following clear and unambiguous assurances from the Brazilian government yesterday that addressed outstanding food safety concerns.
The ministry said the correspondence from Brazil's Minister of Agriculture confirmed there had been no exports of meat products to Trinidad and Tobago from any of the processing plants under investigation by the Brazilian authorities. Additionally, the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries said it received and considered the advice of Dr. Roshan Parasram, the Chief Medical Officer of the Ministry of Health. The CMO advised that the tests revealed the samples were safe and that the product standards were in keeping with international accepted criteria for food safety. Furthermore, it was revealed samples of corned beef were visually examined and no visible signs of damage or rusted cans observed. Also, the labels were in compliance with the requirements of Section 16 of the Food and Drugs Regulation. As a result, the Ministry of Agriculture will resume issuing import permits for meat products from Brazil. The Agriculture Minister Clarence Rambarat said he will continue to monitor this situation via regular updates from Dr. Amory Brown, Trinidad and Tobago's ambassador to Brazil. Rishi Harinanan, C News.
This is the C News Live Report at noon. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website at ctvtt.com, or you can check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at C News Live. A 16-year-old girl has gone missing and police is seeking the urgent assistance of the public in locating her. Anisha Batiste of Labre was last seen leaving her home around 9:30 a.m. on Monday, 17th April 2017. She was reported missing to the Labre police station around 7:45 a.m. the next day. Anisha is of mixed descent, 5 feet 5 inches tall, slim built, brown in complexion, and has long black hair. She was last seen wearing a multicolored top and a long black skirt. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of Anisha Batiste is asked to call 800-TIPS or contact the police at 555-999-911 or any police station. Police have seized a gun and officers of the interagency task force found the weapon and the ammunition during a search at a Nelson Street apartment building known as The Planning last night. The officers found a Taurus pistol fitted with a magazine containing 18 rounds of .9mm ammunition inside an electrical meter box near a staircase on the eastern side of building 51 to 53, and no one was arrested. Meanwhile, 5 men are now in police custody after they were found in possession of guns and ammunition during 2 police exercises. 2 of them were held at Lambie Street, Vista Bella, following an anti-crime exercise yesterday. They were found with a Glock pistol, a shotgun, and an assortment of ammunition. The 3 other men were held at the Kwese in Sawa yesterday morning after a vehicle in which they were traveling was searched and a gun and 49 rounds of ammo were found. To some other news now, the group Fishermen and Friends of the Sea says the government has to stop lying to the public. Its president Gary Aboud was speaking with Sea News about the latest oil spill in the Gulf of Paria over the weekend, which was as a result of a leak in Tank 70 at Petrotrin's Pointe-à-Pierre refinery. He claimed since 2003 it was known that the tank had a leak.
And it was reported in the reports that we have copies of that this tank was a high risk, because if a small leak exists in a tank and the tank contains 150,000 barrels of oil, if that small leak ruptures, a lot of oil would be discharged. So when they come and say to the public that only 20 barrels of oil have leaked, that is an open lie, and somebody should be prosecuted for lying.
Mr. Aboud accused the parliamentarians of sleeping on the job. According to Mr. Aboud, relevant laws should be passed to protect the public. He went on to say that TAC is close to the shoreline and hospital and that it is a major concern.
Well-paid officers of Petrotrin, who the OWTU has negotiated and represented, yet the OWTU is pretending that they don't know. They must be held accountable as well, because they sit on the board of directors, and the board cannot pretend that it is not responsible and it is not liable. The public is not aware that there are a total of 122 tanks in that Petrotrin field. Where's the examination of the safety of those tanks? How many more other tanks are also at risk?
The Oilfields Workers Trade Union is calling on the government to consider its proposal for the immediate restructuring of the management of Petrotrin. This, as it says, it has been warning for several years that the failure of various management personnel at Petrotrin and the board of the company would inevitably lead to problems which would result in financial loss, environmental dangers, and even the loss of lives and limbs. The OWTU said the latest oil spill has given full credence to their claim that poor leadership decisions continue to plague the most important state enterprise. It said the current approach seems void of the priority and urgency that the situation desperately needs. The union said if untreated, the company will continue to be burdened with poor management decisions. Petrotrin has said its cleanup and recovery efforts following an oil spill on Sunday will continue. It said the spill has been largely contained within the Pointe-à-Pierre refinery area. However, aerial surveys and monitoring have indicated that some oil leaked from the Pointe-à-Pierre operations has made its way out to sea. Petrotrin said it continues its ongoing activities to contain and recover the oil and minimize impact to the environment. Here now is Ian Wallace with your afternoon weather.
As the hot spell continues, try and stay out of the sunshine between 11 and 3 p.m. when it's at its hottest. Meanwhile, also try and drink lots of water, wear loose-fitting clothing and have your sunglasses or hats nearby. It will also be quite hazy at times with a thin layer of Saharan dust drifting by. Look for a hot 34 degrees Celsius in Trinidad, 32 degrees Celsius in Tobago. A warm night ahead for many of you. If you're heading to the beaches, those long northerly swells will continue moving through Caribbean and Atlantic waters every 12 seconds, and they should subside Wednesday. Fresh winds of 15 to 20 knots may bring some whitecaps with wind waves of 1.5 to 2 meters. At sheltered areas, look for closer to 1 meter wind waves. Tide is high at 3:30 p.m., low at 9:30 p.m. That's the latest weather, and I'm meteorologist Dean Wallace.
The Ministry of Finance is attributing the Standard & Poor's downgrade of this country to the significant increase in the debt-to-GDP ratio between 2014 and 2015. It said the CSO's estimate for 2014 was revised down from $174,756.9 million to $167,764.3 million, and its estimate for 2015 was reduced from $165,286.1 million to $150,246.6 million. This, the ministry said, was necessary on account of downward adjustments of the originally projected values of the output of energy companies following the sudden collapse of international energy prices in late 2014 and again in 2015. Trinidad and Tobago moved from A- to BBB+, and S&P also revised the outlook for the economy from negative to stable and affirmed the country's A-2 short-term sovereign credit ratings. The ministry said the stable shows a belief that the current economic policies will result in modest economic recovery over the medium-term period 2017 to 2020. The Member of Parliament for St. Augustine, Prakash Ramadas, says he has a team of lawyers looking at the property tax law to see if it can be challenged in any way in the court. If not, he said political pressure will be applied on government to try and have them stop it from moving forward.
I think it's a very poor timing to bring the property tax, where many have lost their jobs. Even the government closing of Canny Green is an example. Instead of building a better economy, strengthening the ability to tax those who can pay, they are closing and shutting down the economy.
According to the law, anyone who has been authorized by the Commission of Valuations can, for the purpose of ascertaining the value of any land, can enter your property without being liable to any legal proceedings. Mr. Ramadas said this is cause for concern.
These are the things that we need to ventilate as we proceed. As it stands, the law now provides for access for that sort of evaluation. And a lot of people are very troubled by that. That's an invasion directly into your home. These are all, it's against the very nature of our society.
Former Minister of Trade and Industry Vasant Bharat says the timing of the implementation of the property tax is of major concern, especially since the consumers are the ones who will feel the brunt of it. He gave an example, saying a manufacturer who creates a mug will have to pay property tax.
Sell this mug to a wholesaler who is a distributor. That wholesaler or distributor has to pay property tax also because he has a warehouse. Okay? When the wholesaler takes that mug and sells it to the mini mart or to the pharmacy or to the small grocery, there's property tax on that grocery or on that pharmacy also. So by the time it reaches you, the consumer, you've paid 3 sets of property tax on this particular mug.
The cost will eventually be passed on to the consumer, who in turn will have less money to spend.
When the consumer does that and has to pay more for this mug and more for other items, the consumer may ultimately cut back on his or her expenditure because you've got less to spend. When that happens, they've got less to spend in the grocery or in the pharmacy, which then is under strain. The businesses become under strain, and of course then that means that they send people home. So it's a whole downward spiral, economic spiral, at a time when we actually need economic activity.
We now have Nasira Mohammed, who is going to tell us what's happening in sport. Nasira, are things looking up for the West Indies?
Not really. They're looking down and out over in Jamaica in the first test match against Pakistan. I'll give you details on that and much more. Resuming on 94 for 4 overnight, the West Indies lost overnight batsman Vishal Singh for 9 with the score on 110, handing Mohammad Amir his first wicket of the second innings. This after Yasir Shah spun his way to 4 wickets before the close of play yesterday. The West Indies will hope and pray, and so would all of us, not to lose any more wickets, but that doesn't seem likely, and hold out for a draw at the end of today, which is the 5th day. Devendra Bishu fell for 18 to Mohammad Abbas, and Shane Dowrich in the same over for a duck, despite asking for an LBW decision to be reviewed. Currently, Alzari Joseph and Ronston Chase are the not-out batsmen at the crease. The West Indies are 151 for 8, a lead of 30 runs. And the Queen's Park Cricket Club and its famed Oval are two of the oldest sporting institutions in the Caribbean, and are recognized universally as the club to produce the likes of Jeffrey Stallmeyer, Charlie and Brian Davis, Brian Lara, Kyron Pollard and Sunil Narain. But now there's a new kid on the block, named after one prominent Parkite, the Brian Lara Cricket Academy and Stadium in Taruba, which is finally completed some 10 years after construction started. But the coach of the Parkites, David Furlong, is certain the facilities can coexist, and offered a suggestion to the schedule of cricket played in Trinidad and Tobago.
You know, the Brian Lara Stadium, listening to the minister, is going to be used as a developmental area to development cricketers and maybe other sports. So both could coexist, and you know, maybe test matches. You have your test matches in the Oval, you have your one-off limited over games at Brian Lara Stadium, but I think both of them could coexist.
With this country getting ready to host the much-anticipated regional swimming championships called the CC-CAN, every effort is being made to move the sport of swimming forward to coincide with this. Only recently, the Amateur Swimming Association of Trinidad and Tobago came in for praises from Minister of Sport Darrell Smith, who is keen to see all forms of water sports take a quantum leap here in Trinidad and Tobago, and is ready to back any initiative that will advance the cause.
The Brian Lara Academy is exactly that, an academy for cricket where kids your age and younger are going to be living there from not just Trinidad, from across the region and across the world. So we're going to be bringing the best coaches, trainers, technical people, psychologists. We want to do the same here for swimming as well, where we can have a proper academy for swimming.
He was also looking ahead to the staging of the CC-CAN championships, having been a swimmer himself in his younger days. But he also wants to see more work being done across all disciplines, and his ministry is already planning ahead.
In this beautiful event, and we do have synchronized swimmers and divers. Well, we're going to be working on that in a few months with regards to finalizing with China to get the right coaches for that. But I'm sure some of you all may morph to one or two of those other events, who knows? But if we do host another CC-CAN, I'm anticipating, or the CC-CAN after that, we'll be participating in all 4.
And that's it for sport for today.
And that's the C News live report at noon. I'm Mahalia Joseph.
And I'm Nasira Mohammed.
Remember, for up-to-date and breaking news throughout the day, you can visit the C News website at ctvtt.com. Have a good afternoon.